Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Lisa Tripskit, and in this video I'm going to show you our experience driving around Belgium and visiting Lille in France. We went on this trip during a long weekend, so it was basically a bank holiday weekend, so we didn't need to take any days off, but we left London around 6 p.m. I actually recommend leaving a bit earlier so you don't have to arrive so late, but we just couldn't because we had to finish work. We got to the Eurotunnel terminal in Folkestone around 8 p.m. and our departure was scheduled at 9:30. Keep in mind that you need to arrive to the terminal at least an hour and a half in advance. It's recommended to arrive at least an hour and a half in advance. Sometimes some people arrive even 2 hours in advance. But there are some things to do there, so it's not too boring. Although, to be fair, after 8 p.m., pretty much everything is closed. So once your number is displayed on the screen, you can head to the passport control and you can start boarding the train. Honestly, the train boarding experience was pretty unique.
Like a spaceship.
It did indeed look like a spaceship. It looked like something straight out of a video game. The trip in the Eurotunnel only took about 35 minutes, so it was really short. And during the journey, you are allowed to get out of your car. There are toilets, so you can just walk around and stretch your legs. You usually pass the passport control on the UK side, so there is no passport control in France. So when we left the train, we were on the road immediately, and it took us about an hour and 15 minutes to get to Lille and go to sleep right away because it was after midnight already. I will leave the link to the hotel in the pinned comments because it was very affordable and only charged €7 for an overnight parking for the car. Breakfast was extra, so we decided to leave the hotel early and have the breakfast somewhere else in the city center of Lille. So Lille is a very modern city outside the city center. There are a lot of different headquarters of large French companies that are located in Lille, so it's a pretty rich city, and the old town is just beautiful. So this, in my opinion, is the most beautiful street. There are so many nice shops where you can buy a lot of cheeses, although unfortunately on this trip it wasn't possible for us to buy any because we just couldn't store them anywhere. So it was just nice to walk around and explore the streets of Lille. There were a lot of different boutiques and souvenir shops. Just look at this cute storefront. I honestly wanted to buy everything here. Also, for some reason, Lille had an incredible number of nice patisseries with absolutely mind-blowing desserts. Just look at this one. We wanted to buy everything. So there were 4 of us, so we tried one each, and they were great. And that's just one of the patisseries. There were so many, and some of them looked absolutely stunning on Google Maps. I don't know what's the deal with them, but if you like pastries, if you like patisserie, I think Lille is the place to go. And besides, it's just a very beautiful city. Our next destination was already in Belgium, so we had to drive for almost 2 hours. We had a technical stop in a petrol station to buy some snacks for lunch, and we finally got to the place called Dinant. It's a very small town slash city located in the southeast of Belgium, and it is known worldwide because it's a city or a town where a saxophone was invented. So this city receives a lot of music-related tourism. We only spent about 45 minutes in Dinant. I know it's really little, but unfortunately it started raining and the rain was getting stronger and stronger with every minute. We tried to hide in a cafe and have a coffee with some chocolate there, but unfortunately we couldn't stay there forever. So we had to go to our next destination and hope that the weather would be better there, and indeed it was. It took us around 45 minutes to get to the next destination, Durbuy. I hope I didn't butcher that name. I think it's Durbuy. And it's a very, very small place. I would call it a village, but it's actually world's smallest city. So the population of Durbuy is just about 400 people, but obviously a lot of people you see now in the city are tourists. It receives a lot of tourists from neighboring countries like Germany and the Netherlands. They are just around the corner, and so is Luxembourg, although Luxembourg doesn't have the biggest population. And of course, France is not too far as well. Durbuy is a very old medieval city, but everything is in a very good condition, everything is very well kept, and it looks gorgeous. As I said many times, it's very small, so there are only a couple of streets. You cannot spend too much time there, although there are a couple of hotels where you can actually stay for a weekend if you want. Also, there is a very beautiful castle in Durbuy, but it's a private castle, so you won't be able to visit it. What you can visit, however, are plenty of restaurants that Durbuy has to offer, although some of the best ones you need to book well in advance. We didn't have any bookings and reservations, so we just went to a place that had spots available, and it was really, really good. Our next destination, Liege, was very close, maybe just about 40 minutes driving from Durbuy. It was very convenient to stay there overnight, and we found a very good hotel that didn't break the bank and looked gorgeous. In the morning, we had time to explore the city. We had a couple of hours in Liège, but unfortunately, the city was being refurbished. Everything was basically closed off, and it wasn't the most impressive city, I must admit. It was a bit disappointing. However, it had the best waffles we've tried in Belgium. The waffles were exquisite, and I would come back there just for the waffles. Our next destination was Leuven. Leuven is a very small town that is famous for its brewery, for Stella Artois. I'm sure you must have heard of it at some point, and it's also famous because of its university. So Leuven's university was probably the most significant and famous university up until the 15th century, and even now it's actually world famous. And I almost ended up there during a university exchange, but instead I actually went to Hong Kong. We spent about 30-40 minutes walking around the city center, and then went to one of the restaurants really close to the main square for lunch. Then we drove probably for another 40 minutes and ended up in our final destination for that day, Antwerp. So Antwerp is probably, I would say, definitely one of the most famous cities in Belgium. It's quite a large city as well, and it's quite a touristy one. But again, just like yesterday in Dinant, we were really unlucky with the weather. So we tried our best to see some of the most beautiful streets and the most impressive buildings. We were also considering visiting one of the museums, but unfortunately most of them were either closed or were closing pretty soon, so we couldn't visit any of them. But we actually found a very impressive bar. Instead, it's called Elfte Gebot. I hope I pronounced it correctly. And it was truly unique because it looked like a church inside. It had 2 floors. We didn't have a booking, so they brought us to the second floor, which was equally impressive. But yeah, that's how it looked inside. Definitely very, very unique. Next morning, we woke up pretty early and headed to Ghent, where we had breakfast at a place called Stek. Everything was great. I would rate it 5 out of 5. Definitely recommend this place. We left our car at one of the parkings. It was actually very close to this restaurant, Stek, and it was just about 10 minutes walking from the city center. The parking wasn't too expensive, so we decided to use it. Honestly, Ghent was really impressive, and we really liked it. All of us really found it impressive, and maybe it was also partially due to the fact that we were finally able to see blue skies, so it's honestly impressed us much better than Antwerp. But in my opinion, Ghent is just a little bit prettier. It seems a bit more compact, and it seems a bit more kind of well kept, smaller, and just prettier somehow. If you visited both cities before, please tell me which one did you like more, Antwerp or Ghent? We also found the castle in the heart of Ghent, really impressive. This is a 12th century castle, and honestly, it's so stunning and it's so well kept. So we spent a couple of hours just walking around the city center, discovering small streets. Some of the streets looked very, very old. Some of the buildings looked relatively new, but maybe the bricks were replaced, so the facades just didn't look so medieval. Anyway, we found some nice businesses. There were plenty of nice restaurants. It was just a pleasure walking around Ghent, honestly, and somehow it was really empty, which was surprising because it was Sunday and it was maybe 12 p.m. London would have been packed by this time, so I found it a bit surprising given how touristy Ghent is. It's one of the most touristic cities in Belgium. At around 1 p.m., we headed to our next and final destination for today, Bruges. We immediately went for lunch because we were pretty hungry, and then headed to the city center. So with Bruges, unlike other cities in Belgium, we didn't have a plan to visit all the small streets and just run around and visit as much as possible because both Jose and I have visited Bruges before separately. We both visited Bruges with our families or friends. But anyway, we had an opportunity to just slowly walk around, enjoy the city, take some beautiful photos, and do not rush at all. We had an opportunity to visit some of the chocolate shops. Chocolate is amazing in Belgium. There are so many small chocolateries where you can buy handmade chocolates, and we bought chocolates from 3 different shops, and all of them were great, and actually surprisingly all of them were very different. One of the best things you can do in Bruges, if the weather permits, of course, is to take a boat tour around the city. So on a boat tour, you will be able to see Bruges from a different perspective and see some of the things you might not be able to see on foot. And of course, you will also have a tour, an excursion, and learn more about the history of the city. In my opinion, Bruges is the most beautiful city in Belgium, followed by Ghent. If you only have an opportunity to visit 2 cities, this would be the 2 cities I would recommend. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll try to answer them, or DM me on Instagram. You will be able to find the links in the description of the video. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next videos. Bye!